Welcome back. More now on those 12 Honduran migrants using lawyers to storm into D.C. to file a class action suit against President Trump and his administration. They have not yet set foot on U.S. soil. They turned down asylum in Mexico. The migrants' lawyers are from a company that has been accused of gouging illegals thousands of dollars in fees when they're bailed out of federal detention in order to monitor them. Let's get right to the panel. Daily Caller's Amber Appy and Democrat strategist Kevin Walling. Good to see you both. Amber, they are migrants outside of the U.S. The Fifth Amendment applies to persons on U.S. soil. They're trying to cite this 1993 Anton Scalia Supreme Court justice decision that said due process is allowed to illegal aliens when they're deported. That's how this case is wrong. They're missing the fact that when they're deported, they have constitutional rights. They've got no constitutional rights right now.
You're exactly right, Liz. These illegal immigrants are arguing that because Donald Trump is only processing asylum claims that come through ports of entry and not ones by people who cross the border illegally, that somehow they have a right to due process. As you mentioned, they only have that right when it comes to deportation proceedings, which is what the president plans on doing with the caravanners who come across the border illegally. The president is well within his presidential powers to do this, and this is a completely frivolous lawsuit dreamed up by these U.S. lawyers, and they're actually taking advantage of these illegal immigrants who are going to quickly find out that they have no legal claim here.
Kevin, what's your reaction?
Sure, Liz. I don't think they're taking advantage of the immigrants because they're not paying for the legal coverage. But I think it is shining a light on the policies coming out of this administration where we do have asylum seekers accessing rights under the Constitution, including the due process clause of our Constitution. So I think this case is going to play out in a court of law. It'll be decided on the merits or a way that Scalia decision, as you mentioned, Liz, at the outset. But again, I think what the president is doing is now hopefully walking back some of the heated rhetoric. You spoke about this earlier in the show, where we aren't meeting these immigrants with bullets, but hopefully in a court of law.
You know, here's the thing. Again, it's pretty. Critics are saying, Amber, it is completely outrageous for these lawyers to take this step. This is a frivolous lawsuit. They're pushing the limits of the due process law. You have to be on U.S. soil. That's what the law says. That's a reading of the law. Your reaction, Amber?
Yeah, it is taking advantage of these illegal immigrants because it's wasting their time and giving them false hope. They now have this expectation that they're somehow going to be able to come to the border and win a lawsuit against someone who they, quote, our president. They say he's our president in the lawsuit. He's not their president. They're not U.S. citizens. So I would push back on this idea that they're not taking advantage. You know,
and the thing is, they have no standing because they rejected asylum offered by Mexico, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that the case will play out in a court of law. They're still 3 to 2 weeks away from our border.
But I thought they were, you know, how do they get these 3 law firms to help them? I mean, this law firm that they're using has been accused of gouging illegal immigrants with excessive fees. I mean, what do you make of that?
Sure. I mean, I think oftentimes people do these lawsuits to raise awareness about their own law firms, to raise their profile. So, again, I don't know much about the law firm itself. Okay. So I'm in agreement with you, Liz. But, again, these folks have a case to be made in terms of asylum in this country and should have a day in court.
I hear what you're saying, but you just made the point that it's a stunt. Kevin, sorry
sure,
to leave
a lot of lawyers are stunt people.
Amber, it's great to have you both on, Amber and Kevin.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you so much. Good to see you guys.